Hey guys, it's Chris here. Today I'm ranking the Child's Play franchise, including the TV series. I'm doing each season in the list. There's 11 different titles from all the way from 1988's the original Child's Play all the way through to 2023-24 season 3 of Chucky. This list will also include the remake. I will not be covering the awesome documentary Living with Chucky. Um, I do own it, obviously, and I have seen it, and it is a great documentary. Don't get me wrong, but there's no reason to really rank it. It's just this is a making of essentially the franchise, and it's awesome. It's almost as good as Never Sleep Again and Camp Crystal Lake and all that. Now, for those of you that don't know, Chucky or Child's Play is my second favorite horror franchise. Right behind Nightmare on Elm Street, so I absolutely do adore this character. So this ranking is going to be personally my favorite, from the least favorite to my most favorite of the movies and the TV series, right? And I don't hate any one of these, but some of them I do like a lot less, and some of them I just absolutely adore. And my list might not be the same as anybody else's, and that's okay. So we're going to start off with number 11. My least favorite of the franchise is the 2019 remake. Or reboot, whatever you would call it. Mark Hamill plays Chucky. There's some things I do like about this movie. I do like the idea that Chucky is able to control different electronic items and stuff. It gives him a whole new different horror factor and a more of an unpredictability if you ask me. What I did not like, and I think a lot of the actors do really well in this movie. I don't hate this movie by any means. The one thing that I do shy away from a little bit is Mark Hamill himself. Now, I do like Mark Hamill a lot. He's my favorite Star Wars character. He's playing Luke Skywalker for decades. The voice of Joker and everything in the Batman animated series. He even plays in the Avatar: The Last Airbender animated series. He was Fire Lord, the Fire Lord, right? He's a great voice actor, but in this instance, when I'm watching this movie, all I hear is Mark Hamill, and it just takes me out of it. Brad Dourif is a different animal because all I knew about Brad Dourif before, since then he's made other movies that I know from, like the Lord of the Rings and stuff, but he is Chucky to me, and that I picture Chucky when I hear Brad Dourif. That's a different situation. With this, I hear Mark Hamill, and it does put me out of the movie just a little bit. But other than that, I still like this movie. It just happens to be my least favorite of the franchise. Okay, now coming in at number 10, we have a very controversial one. We have Seed of Chucky. This is obviously it's a Scream Factory or Shout Factory. I do have the basic slipcovers, but I actually prefer the new custom artwork they had made. This movie, for a long time, I hated this movie. This was the only movie of the franchise I could not stand. And it wasn't until rewatching it here recently, because before I did this ranking, I hadn't even seen all the Chucky TV series. I'd seen some of it when it first aired, but I kind of lost track of it, and I wasn't as invested into it at the time. But I do have the Blu-rays, so I wanted to rewatch them, and I wanted to make this ranking. And it wasn't until rewatching it more recently I realized this movie is actually a lot better than I remember it being. Right? I didn't absolutely despise it like I used to. Right? Sure, there's some things in there that I don't like, and there's some things that are iffy, but this is a very, I forgot that they were doing, Jennifer Tilly's actually playing Jennifer Tilly. And then that carries on throughout the rest of the franchise, right? Where she's actually Jennifer Tilly now. And it's kind of a meta take on it that I forgot that they're doing, where they're actually puppets, and they're talking about it reminds me of Wes Craven's New Nightmare a little bit, and so I actually like this movie. And this movie it's probably the next year or two, if I'm rewatching and stuff, I will probably have this higher up in my list. I don't know if it will never beat my number one. It probably would never get into my top 2 or 3 for this franchise, but I do have to say that this movie has actually surprised me quite a bit. I do like it more than I ever did before. But it was always going to beat out the remake. All right, coming in at number 9 is a movie that I actually liked quite a bit, especially back then. It is Child's Play 3. This is the third movie of the franchise. There's some things I love about this, and there's some things I hate about this. Right, just like most of these movies. I was okay with them, putting Andy and Chucky into the military academy type setting. I was all right with that, and I was okay with Justin Whalen playing in this movie. I was okay with him being there, but I didn't see the reason or the need for it to actually have to be Andy Barclay, right? I didn't see any reason for him not to just have been, maybe Andy's friend, or maybe maybe it's Andy's one of Andy's, father figure mentor type guys, right? Because the role of Tyler in this movie, that could have been Andy Barclay, right? That could have been Andy Barclay easily. We didn't have to have Tyler and all that stuff. But I do like love. I like the love interest. There's one thing that I did not. There's a few things that towards the end of the movie I was kind of a little. It kind of takes me off a little bit in hindsight, because the main love interest in this for Andy is she comes off as a badass, right? She's a boss character. She's not afraid of anything. All that stuff and everything, and then all of a sudden, Chucky, who was great by the way, Chucky's always great. He he's able to hold her hostage, and she's afraid, right? Now this is a girl that we've already established isn't afraid of anything, right? She stands up to the bullies. She stands up to everybody, right? She stands up for Andy and his roommate. I don't remember the roommate's name right off the top of my head. But all of a sudden she's scared of this doll. And the doll, how he's holding her hostage. He doesn't tie her up. He doesn't do anything like that. He doesn't make her stay or whatever. He doesn't gag her. He doesn't do anything like that. He has a gun, okay, and a knife, I think, if I remember correctly. All right, cool. But it's mainly he's holding her hostage with a grenade. Now, if this is the boss type character that you establish in the rest of the movie, why is she not just kicking him like 20 feet away, let the grenade blow up, let him blow up with it? It ruined that character a little bit for me. You know what I mean? And then you go to the final fight scene, which happens at the pop-up fair carnival thing, right? It's a pop-up carnival that they go to. And even though it's a cool setting and it's a cool scenario and stuff, it's not very believable. What pop-up carnival is going to have that type of a ride that's essentially like a very, very loosely indoor roller coaster? You might be lucky if you find a pop-up carnival that has a tunnel of love that actually does, goes indoors and stuff. But not only that, when there's an like an up cranny shot of the carnival and they're running to it, or Tyler's running to it, then Andy and the girlfriend is also chasing after Tyler to try to help him. You see an overview of it, and there's not one single building or structure there that I remember seeing at all that would house something like that, right? It's just like, okay, whatever, I get it, it's a movie, but it's just a thing that kind of annoys me, and it even annoyed me when I was a little kid watching this at the age of 9, because this came out in 1991, right? Yeah. So I was 9, I was 10 or 11. It annoyed me even then. But yeah, Child's Play 3. It's still a great movie. It's a fun movie. Chucky's Chucky in this. There's not a movie this franchise, aside from the remake, somewhat, that I don't love Chucky in the movie. But I have to rank these movies, so that's where the ranking goes. Coming in at number 8 is Season 3 of Chucky. This is a mixed bag. There's some things I like about this season. There were some things that were just off for me. All of a sudden, we're in a... It's weird, there's not very much Andy in this. There's not very... I don't even think... If I remember correctly, I don't even think Kyle has a scene in it. The only thing I think it has is there's a scene where I think Andy's calling and talking to her, but she's not even on the other end. So I don't know why they decided not to bring her back for the third season. There's... All of a sudden, Chucky's in the White House. He's aging and all this stuff. And the sister now believes that Chucky is that she's adopted, and I guess Chucky's her father or something. Or it's just a weird season. and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's in this case it is because it's weird, and I don't like I don't like the final episode of the series. Now I don't remember if they knew going into the third season that this was going to be their final season, or if they were hoping to get another season or not, or if they were hoping to get renewed or not. I don't remember the specifics of it or anything. And I do know that the creator and stuff has talked about wanting to do a movie or a mini series or something to continue the story. And I'm fine with that. If they do that, I'm definitely going to watch it, But there's just. It's just, there's some odd things going on in this season that I wasn't really thrilled with. And, for that reason, that reason alone, that's why it's number 8 on my list. Coming in at number 7 is a movie that I actually used to like a lot more than I did, but since then there have been other movies coming out and other seasons coming out that I just like better now. That is 1998, and that is The Bride of Chucky. Again, this movie, I thought it was always really fun. I always enjoyed, in general, this movie, and I thought it was a really good sequel. And it was the first time we did use Child's Play in the title for the Chucky character. I don't know the specifics of why they stopped doing the title Child's Play, but they did, and I was okay with it, because this is, after all, this is the Chucky franchise, right? Just the first 3 movies and the remake are called Child's Play, right? The only thing in this movie that really I don't like, because I love like John Ritter's in this. I love his death scene with the nails and everything. What was it? Katherine Heigl, is that her name? I think that's her name. She made her debut in this movie, and I've liked a lot of her, romantic comedies and stuff that she's done. I don't like the whole doll sex scene. And the thing is, compared to like, Team America World Police, this is very tame. You basically just see the shadows of them making love, right? And then they talk about, Tiffany, asks about, does he have a rubber? And he's like, Tiff, I'm made of plastic. It was a stupid joke, but it kind of worked, I guess. And this movie actually introduces us to Jennifer Tilly's Tiffany, and she becomes kind of her own icon in a way of this franchise. So there's a lot of good things in this movie. There's a few things that, this is kind of one of the movies that I kind of feel are in the middle of the road with the franchise, where I still enjoy it, and I'm still, I don't like to say I'm not as captivated with the movie, but I still enjoy it. It's still a fun time, and it's still. I enjoy all this franchise, but this one is where if I had to pick one thing in this film, in this franchise, it was kind of really middle of the road, and it deserves to be like middle of the road in the rankings. It's definitely Bride of Chucky. All right, coming in next is season 1 of Chucky. This came out in 2021, and I remember when it first came out. I remember watching the first. Probably 4 or 5 first half of the season. As it was airing, I was watching it on YouTube, on like the Sci-Fi YouTube channel or something like that, and I was thinking it was pretty good. I didn't actually have cable, so I couldn't actually watch it all the time, so I kind of lost track of it. And I thought I had watched all the first season until I watched the Blu-ray, and until I sat down and watched it all. Apparently I only watched the first half because I remember them getting into the hospital with the little sister in the hospital and everything. And I remember up to there, and like after, they burnt, the house partially burns down. I remember that part, but I don't remember I don't remember, like the end of this season, there's a whole thing with the movie theater, right? I didn't remember that in the first watching of this. And there's a lot of stuff around there that I didn't remember in that. I didn't remember Andy and Kyle really coming back to the franchise in that way. I'm glad they did, because Kyle, I love Kyle. She's just such a great character, and I always liked Andy. Even Justin Whalen, I liked him as Andy. I just didn't think he needed to be Andy, because I think they could have had Tyler be Andy in Child's Play 3. So I've always liked the actor Alex Vincent, and I always liked Kyle. And so I am glad that they finally brought Kyle back. But this season, it's it feels like it's two separate seasons. Because up to where I watched it originally, it feels like that's a whole season, right? And then the second season, it kind of like a season two, because it kind of almost shifts a little bit, right? And it's to me, it's a little off-putting that way. But other than that, it's comes in at number 6, and it's still good, and I still enjoy it. I will rewatch it in the future. I don't know when because I have a lot of other stuff I need to actually watch. But yeah, season 1 comes in at number 6. Coming in at number 5 is 2017's Cult of Chucky. Cult of Chucky is actually a really fun movie. This is where we start introducing the idea of Chucky being able to split his soul into different things, not only just dolls but people. It takes place in a mental institution, and it's actually really a solid film. And it to me it belongs in the top 4 or 5 movie parts of the franchise because it is a really good solid film. There are some parts of this film where I'm like, why does it need to be there? Like the main doctor, for some reason, decides he needs to not only hypnotize but sexually abuse the patient. The main Nina, I think is her name, while in hypnosis. Why? Why is that even part of the story? Why do they even decide that needs to be into this story? I don't get it. It seems like it was just put in there just because there was really no true reason for it, right? And it didn't really further the story any. It didn't really help the story any, in my opinion. It was just okay, sure, I guess. Other than that, though, it's a good, solid movie. I do like I have gotten to like the idea of Chucky being able to split his souls into other dolls and stuff. When I first watched this, it was kind of like, what? Where the hell did this come from? What the hell? That's just odd. But in hindsight, with the TV series and stuff since then, I see where they were going with it, and I'm okay with it. But yeah, that comes in at number 5. Coming in at number 4 is Chucky Season 2. This, to me, is my favorite season of the Chucky TV series. I just think overall it was really good. Yes, they kind of forced the whole gay thing with the two of the 3 main kids. They kind of forced that onto you a little bit more than I would have liked. But I'm okay with it. It didn't turn me off of the series at all. But it was kind of, thrown in our faces a lot. Kind of like saying, haha, we can do this, And it's like, because there's been gay characters in other TV shows and stuff. And I'm not opposed to it, but I don't see the point of, really thrusting that part onto us even more than you have to. And it seemed like they were kind of going out of their way to do that in some of this season. And throughout the whole series, really, not just this season, especially seasons 2 and 3, when they're actually, when the two are actually a couple. The first season is kind of they're crushing on each other, and then they decide towards the end to be a couple, right? So it's not as blatant as it is in this season and in season 3. But again, this just to me is the best overall of the seasons. It seems like it really had it had found its footing, and it was a very consistent storyline. We had a lot more of Andy and Kyle, and I really enjoyed this season in total. So yeah, this movie is this season is good, and it's the best season of the 3, and I stand by that. So coming in the top 3, we have number 3 is The Curse of Chucky. This movie is fantastic. This movie, the only reason it's not higher up in this list is the other 2 movies on this list, to me, are just that much better. This movie is, if you like horror, if you like that whole situation, this is that movie for you. This is the movie that got Chucky away from being the comedy killer and stuff. He was still comedic in this, but not as much, right? He was more like the Chucky in the first movie, in the original Child's Play. and it's such a great film. This is basically it's a one location movie. It's a one location film. It's just the house and different rooms in that house, right? I think there's one or two quick scenes of outside the house and where the priest drives away and dies in a car crash because of the rat poisoning and stuff, which is pretty much towards the middle of the film. It's not really a huge spoiler or anything, but essentially this is basically all takes place in the creepy house, right? We get introduced to the new one of the new protagonists, and she's actually played by Brad Dourif's daughter, and she's crippled, and you find out in the movie that it was Chucky or Charles Lee Ray that actually crippled her before she was even born, right? It's a really good, solid movie. There are some beats in the movie that is a reason for me that it's not number 2 or number 1. But ultimately, this is such a great movie. Every time I watch this movie, I love it even more. That's why it's number 3 for me. Coming in at number 2, we have the original Child's Play. This movie to me, it was groundbreaking, and it was such a good, solid horror flick with a tad bit of comedy in there. I don't want to say it's as perfect as some other films I've seen, but this is just a great movie. It's a great idea, taking basic child I just lost my train of thought. Commercialism, and kind of giving it the middle finger, saying this is wrong to try to push all these things on kids, like He-Man, like Thundercats, like all the stuff, the real Ghostbusters, Ninja Turtles, the My Buddy doll, Cabbage Patch dolls, later on Furbies, all that stuff, and it kind of saying, well, what if this doll that every kid wants is actually possessed, And it's a great movie, and there's so much good effects in this movie, especially for the time, because this was in 1988, I want to say, 1988, and it's such a good movie, and it would be number 1, but the only problem is with that, my number 1 is a movie that I absolutely adore, and it is my favorite of the franchise, hands down, and that is, if you couldn't guess, it's Child's Play 2. Now, a lot of people love this movie, and I'm no exception, because I do. I adore this film. I love everything about this film. It introduces us to the world, to Kyle, and I love the Kyle character. I love the chemistry and the brother sister type bond that Kyle and Andy have. The only thing that would make this better is if we got to see the mom. If the mom and Chris Sarandon's Officer Mike, if they were in this movie, even if it's just briefly, I would have loved this movie even more. But I love the ending scene where they're facing Chucky in a good guy doll factory. It's just so great. Everything about this movie is great. One of my favorite kills in just about any horror franchise happens in this movie with the school teacher. I absolutely adore this movie. This, to me, is the perfect Child's Play movie. It's a perfect Chucky movie. And it's going to take a lot to ever beat this movie for me. And there's not much else I can say about it. My favorite movie and my number 1 is Child's Play 2. So that's the rankings. I've already done the Nightmare on Elm Street. I've already done the Friday the 13th rankings. And now I've done the Child's Play. I might do the Halloween franchise. I don't really want to have to rewatch all those movies, to be honest with you. And some of those movies I know fairly well, and I remember very well. And some of them, they kind of just blend together, or I just don't really care for them that much. But if you guys really want me to do the rankings, I will take the time, and I will rewatch all 13 of them. But as of right now, I'm not going to. I might start watching it because it is spooky season after all. I might start rewatching it, and I might actually change my mind, and I actually might make the ranking. And who knows? I can tell you what I think would be my favorite and my least favorite of the franchise. But upon rewatching them all, that may very well change. I can't guarantee that, and I can't guarantee it will or won't. Right? But anyways, we're going to end it there. If you like this video or my content at all, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you can. And, comment down below. Do you like Child's Play? Do you like Chucky? Do you like, Robert Lee England and the Nightmare on Elm Street? Who's your favorite horror icon? Are you a big fan of the Terrifier? Or maybe your favorite horror icon is, the old school stuff like Dracula and the Wolfman? Let me know. And in case I don't see you guys, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and I'll catch you guys later.